said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
Yeah. Look, I know my man's going crazy. I gotta break on myself, I amaze me. Joke like I'm back in the 80s.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone keeps through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drop, popped up behind it at the edge of. Away with a kill, but quick trade back from Ariel. Still good.
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go.
YaLLa Compass Contenders Playoffs is where we find ourselves this morning. It's the business end of the competition. We've gone from the qualifiers to the Swiss stage, and now we find ourselves, like I said, in the really important stage of the competition. And I'm joined by Mr. Dweg. Now, Dweg, you and I have been casting Counter-Strike for a long time, and we've never had the pleasure of actually sharing the microphone before. So when I got asked by Faraz if I'd be keen to jump in today, I was like, hell yeah, not only do I get to cast more Counter-Strike, I get to work with Dweg. So it's a pleasure, mate. Welcome. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, indeed, and it's a great way to be able to kick off the playoffs, right? Single elim bracket, a lot of pressure on the line. A lot of these squads that you would say summer title contenders, there's even maybe some surprises that came out of main Swiss stage. I mean, as an example, I look at Iberian Soul going 3-0. I thought they were going to struggle in the main Swiss stage. I thought they were going to maybe be like a 3-2 team at the very best. So this is definitely where it cuts out of who the stronger teams are and who the weaker ones are.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'd be pressed to pick a team I think is the favorite to win the playoffs from here and win the entire tournament, right? I think there's a number of teams who stand a chance of making it happen. It could be Spirit Academy, Passion UA are in some decent form, Parivision probably in that top spot as the favorites to claim it. Do you have a team you look at and think, yeah, they should be getting it done from here?
Probably Parivision, I would say, is my #1 team right now. I'm not big on Spirit Academy's consistency, and I sort of look at Astrum and I think that they can be quite hit and miss, whereas at least for Parivision, I think we're starting to get very familiar with these guys. It was probably a wake-up call at the MRQ, even though they had a tough run and they had difficult opponents. Going out in last place, you think, oh, are they going to start crumbling a little bit? Instead, they just respond instantly. They nearly qualified to Pro League. They were one map away from doing so in the grand final of ECL versus Bade. They most recently got into the last grand final of CCT. They swept the competition in the main Swiss stage. I'm hyping these guys up. They're in good touch right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think there was a bit of a period where people were thinking, damn, this Parivision team are trending downwards. You know, a couple of their players were in a bit of a rough patch of form as well, particularly Travis, and then the other guy who for a couple weeks wasn't playing great was Belchanok, and I've loved watching Belchanok for a long time, an explosive rifler with a very entertaining skill set, but from what I could tell, he was just lacking a bit of confidence. He wasn't going for the same sort of jewels I was used to seeing from him. He had kind of just gone into a shell, and it was probably a reflection of those you know, lackluster results, like you say, narrowly missing out on qualifying for Pro League after they were so close against Bait and bombing out in the MRQ. So it kind of sucked for them, but I think that they're back on track. And James is playing some of the best Counter-Strike I think I've ever seen from him. Obviously relieved of his duties as IGL, but he is just banging out teams with the AWP at the moment.
All you need to do is just watch a few demos of James and you'll realize that he's changed his playstyle completely. He's a lot more aggressive,
more
there's
active
a lot more
now,
freedom.
yeah.
And that probably just comes to kick it, understanding what James was like in the past, and now kind of giving him a fresh touch. And we see it quite frequently, especially with tier 1 AWPers, is that when they do drop down in the divisions, they can just start farming competition because you're not getting flashed off angles as easily, the util usage isn't quite as good. And that's something that Sashi, I would always say, is in their back pocket. I think fundamentally they try and play some really good CS. It's all about timings. It's all about pressure points. The issue that I have with them is that, first off, I don't really think they've got a star player. I don't think they've got a consistent rifler that's always going to put up good numbers. And secondly, when you've got a day like today where you're going into a quarterfinal matchup and you've got 3 best-of-3s to play and you're playing the opening game basically of HLTV of the day, man, I just can't understand how you're meant to find form. I can't understand how you're meant to go on deep runs when you're just playing as many series as they are.
Yeah, there's just so much Counter-Strike going around at the moment, and it kind of feels like they're one of the teams that are taking every single invite that comes their way. And you and I were discussing it before we went live, and we spoke about how busy the calendar is for the teams. Obviously, with the adoption of VRS, everybody's trying to climb up the rankings, but it can also be counterintuitive. If you're not in great form, accepting all the invites and then playing poorly will completely work against you, right? Because then you're just going to drop down the rankings. And I think a GM in Counter-Strike is probably more important now than it ever was before, just to try and manage the calendar and the schedule for a team.
I believe that Sashi are a bit incompetent with that department. I mean, they've played a few LANs in the last couple of months. They played the Level Up Lund, they played up Gamebox, and they're just not in a position where they're capitalizing on prioritizing local LAN tournaments. I mean, they've got like the Glitched Masters event in a couple of weeks that they can go to. I think they just need to stop declining invites. And I mean, I've just come back from LAN recently, and what I've seen, Matt, was how many of these teams are telling me, actually, we're going to start declining invites. Like, they're starting to get the idea of exactly what's required. Now, in terms of a veto, we know that very often between both of these teams, Sashi never get the one-up. No matter how they try and sort of curve it, no matter what they end up picking, it's always a struggle. And I think that's just all from the get-go, like how you have to look at the majority of these officials is how are Sashi meant to be able to get a win? I mean, Nuke is their #1 map in the pool as always, but you go into a Paravision matchup where the permaban is always Nuke. So you're always kind of playing middle of the map pool if you're the Danes.
At least their permaban is Dust 2 as well, which is a map that Paravision have kind of proven to be unbeatable on at the moment at this level, so they do get like one back in that regard. But then it's like, cool, Paravision are like, well, we'll just play our second best map, and that's not much of a problem. As for Sashi, it's like, well, where do we actually go from here then? Okay, we've been trying to integrate Train into the pool, we'll go there. Paravision don't really mind Train either. Obviously, we were highlighting Jame and his prowess lately. He's doing good work on the map. Ancient picked by Paravision, also just been a map in their wheelhouse for a long time. I've seen Nota do really good work on the map. And then Mirage is a bit iffy for Paravision, just looking at the results. I mean, if you dig a bit deeper, you see when they lose the map, normally it's quite a close affair. But yeah, they decided to ban out Inferno instead. I guess, yeah, they didn't really have a better option between the two with Mirage and Inferno. So fair enough. I'd surprised if we see a third, honestly.
I'm probably with you on this one. I mean, this is a Sashi side that struggled in both stages of the tournament. I mean, the opening stage, they go 3-1. The secondary stage, they go 3-2. They probably should have even been eliminated by Rush B in the last round. So when you're a squad that just about pushed yourself into the playoffs and you're going up against a team of Paravision who, they've won 9 out of their past 10 best of 3s on HLTV, and the majority of those 9 are 2-0s. So I'm not expecting us to go to a third. I'm expecting a pretty comfortable 2-0 for Paravision this morning.
Well, I will say, Sashi have played Train, 10 times? They've won it 9 out of the past 10 times they've played it. So they're on a bit of a streak on the map. They beat Paravision as well about a month ago. Obviously, form changes so quickly in Tier 2, so results a month ago only carry so much weight, only means so much, right? And I feel like Paravision a month ago were kind of half the team that they are today. So I wouldn't really look at that result too much and say, hey, maybe Sashi can do it again. I think they've trained it downwards a little bit while Paravision have trained it upwards since then. But just when I don't think that the maps play too big of a role in this series. I think that Paravision as a team, regardless of the map we play on, should probably just get the job done.
I mean, even Matt sort of talking about the good win rate that Train has for Sashi. Sure. I mean, who are they beating, right? Like Eklop, Fireflux, Yano. Unity.
Come on, Yano.
That's it. The majority of the teams are sort of mid-pack Tier 2, low-end of Tier 2. I'm banking on Paravision basically being a title contender. I'm looking at them saying at a bare minimum they should be making the final. So even though you might be in good touch on the map, it might be one of your strong suits outside of Nuke, a strong suit against a team of this caliber, I just don't see it in this best of 3.
Yeah, I think it's always important to kind of compare what the goals and aspirations are for a team, and then you can compare them side by side, and you can kind of get a good idea of what to expect in the series. And for a team like Sashi, like you said, they just scraped by in the qualifier, then narrowly made it through the group stage as well. So for them to be in the playoffs is already like, okay, good job, guys. We've made the playoffs. This is a good run from us. For Paravision, it's like, well, obviously we should have been here, 3-0 in the group stage. We should be winning this entire competition right now so that we can rack up those points and start to get some invites to maybe some LAN events or at least into the closed qualifiers and continue to perk their way up. So I think when you look at the goals on paper, they're completely different between these two teams.
And even for Sashi, I mean, they're a bit of a household name here in the Compass circuit. This is their 7th Compass tournament. I think back to the summer of last year, they ended up winning one of these events. They got towards the LAN finals. They qualified to the EWC LAN. They made it to the RMR. Since that period, sort of since that 12-month window, we've just seen nothing. We really haven't seen a threatening Sashi side, and they've tried to make a few changes, right? You look at the beginning of the year, they bring Zyphod in, Becky's come in most recently. I think Becky's underperforming massively, but yet again, he's a 19-year-old player that's never played at this level before. My next wonder is, how long do you give him? I'm always on the side that players deserve time. You've got to give the standing to adjust to this level. However, this is a result-based industry, and I'm looking at Sashi in the last 3 months, and I'm thinking, nothing's caught my eye. Not a single tournament has impressed me in the last 3 months from them, maybe even this entire year of 2025.
Yeah, man, it does suck, because like you said, there was a period last year where it's like, damn, this team is really on the way up, and there's a lot to get excited about for them, and it just hasn't been the case throughout 2025. You know, we've spoken a little bit about Siphon. You said you feel like they don't really have a star rifler. It should be Siphon, especially at this level, with what we've seen from him in the past, the teams he's played in, the levels that he's competed at, what he's been able to show on some big stages. He should be taking a step down now and just farming this level, and then being able to kind of elevate Sashi's level. And then another player that I'd like to highlight is Lucky, because I feel like he's almost in prison right now in Sashi. This guy could keep up with tier 1.5 AWPers, I truly believe, and he's a very good hybrid player. I think he's got a great game, and he's got a great head for the game as well. Always very good in the clutch and just reading his rotations and knowing how to set himself up. I feel like he's a really intelligent player. How long does he continue to bank on the Sashi team if they don't start to turn the results?
Well, he's never leaving, I'll put it that way. This is a core of players that have just been together for too long. I mean, I was even talking to Prime the other weekend, and he's sort of reminiscent on the days when he was there, when Quez was there as well.
Yeah,
I think unfortunately, Matt,
tricked.
That's it. You get a lot of these players that they're comfortable. They're happy playing with cores, teammates. I can never see Iceberg and Lucky leaving this team to another project. The only time they're going to be leaving is if they get kicked.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Selfishly, I'm just like, Lucky, I think you're an incredible player, and I'd love to see what else you can accomplish. Either way, we can put that conversation on ice, because we're going to be jumping into the first map of the series. The first map of the playoffs. Quarterfinals underway. Single Elam, Bracket, Cutthroat, and Paravision are not wasting any time. Straight into this A bomb site. This is fast. This is furious. Util usage is good. And Cabby is looking like he wants to set himself up to try and pop through the smoke and allow for his teammates to come through. Pop Dog. Becky leads the charge with the Julies, and he does draw first blood. Now, there's no kits in play for Sashi, so time is of the essence, and Belchnok just stands and bangs. 2 kills from him. Pretty good return. However, Sashi have got that man advantage, and James is going the entire way around right now. He knows he can't afford to run, and this is being considered by Iceberg, but you can't afford to hang around here, obviously. And without that kit, that'll certainly play into James' hands. He's still shift walking. Attention's now taken by Notes. That's going to allow for James to step out. No! Lucky's looked back. James must have stepped. Is there enough time? It's going to be so close.
Yeah, it's coming down to the final few ticks. Iceberg, I think, just about got it with how quick that returning kill was towards the back of the bomb train, and Sashi will get it in. Now, you expect Paravision to be buying it up here. They've got themselves 3 casualties. They got the bomb down. For James, it was a little bit of hesitation, because he's obviously in a lurk of T-Con. He decides to wrap massively towards the brown holes. I don't think there's anything wrong with the play, especially with the bomb plant being open towards Pop. The issue, Matt, is that they just lose too many players on the post plant. Your Travis goes down on the off angle. You've got Belchnok that's also playing an off angle that falls. With the timing of that backstab, you need mass players to be staying alive on the T side.
Yeah, prioritizing staying alive is of utmost importance when you have somebody who's making a play that requires time. And they were kind of committed to those positions where they couldn't prioritize staying alive. They were forced into the fights.
I like this aggro. Just make an info play instantly from Sashi. Try and double walk, scale out here towards the brown holes. Is a lack of info against the T side, because first off, Belchnok's the only one being seen. And also, it is baiting quite a bit of util out. Now, there's still plenty of time, 120 on the clock, but Zyphon's got 1 more resmoke. Becky, the anchor on B's, got 1 more resmoke. It is a lack of util from the CT line.
This has become the value in taking brown holes early on, and Becky is just going to step out shamelessly, and he finds Nota looking the wrong way. Okay, it's a good way to draw first blood, but this has become the value in taking brown holes early on as the CT side, with the way that the architecture's changed on Train, and Pop Dog is now down the stairs and around the corner. If you can get up brown holes, you can actually deny the T's being able to go in towards Pop, right? So I feel like that's completely adjusted the way the CTs are setting up on the map.
Try and get that molly back just to push the CTs further away. Now, a bit of an info play of retaking T-Con control and even getting a boost up towards Pop allows a secondary rotation, and this is now where Becky can get a little bit more assistance from Lucky, but first contact is going to be very key on whether the T's are going to be successful on getting the bomb down on B.
Yeah, here we go. 20 seconds on the clock. Paravision starting to make a move forward here. Lucky doesn't have a line of sight. Becky's committed out in the open. A good frag from him and follow-up damage. And Lucky is going to drop down into Oil Trade. Does this get hard cleared? Oh, he will get the jump on Travis. However, trade comes through. Bomb plant actually not going to happen. What's gone on there? They've kind of fumbled. Jame and Belchnok tripping over each other. And Sashi don't waste the opportunity.
Sashi are going to be one of these squads, especially on the city side of Train, where they're going to be creating a lot of movement. They're going to be taking space, and then as soon as it gets retaken for the opposition, you start putting emphasis elsewhere. And we saw that with not only Becky's aggression up from ramp towards the brown holes, but then we see it out there towards T-Con, and that forces the rotation from the secondary B player. We've got a situation I expect from Paravision where individually, they're going to have to start making a few more aggressive moves, whether that be the first 15, 20 seconds to try and duel, to try and make a fight. You just need to try and make Sashi as uncomfortable in this first half.
Yeah, and that's how you want to be playing T-side Train as well. It's really difficult to contain those fast hits outside when you have a team that are splitting through Pop and main, just barreling util over the top. You're so limited for options as to how to position yourself on the, say, bomb site. So I think that's a good option that Paravision should certainly consider. I think it should be like more of the default approach. And then you can change things up with direction and timings. But I think that's got to be like the kind of go-to on the T-side of Train. I'm not sure how you feel about the T-side of Train and the way that it plays. But I think it has a lot more going for it than it did in CSGO.
Yeah, look, it's tough to be sold on a map when it's still so fresh to the pro scene. I'm not big on, obviously, the elevations. I think Train is meant to be a map where you can actually get on the trains, you can use the higher ground.
Yeah.
That's just not something that is possible in CS2 with the layout. And Lucky.
Yeah, true.
Down. I mean, look, it's a situation where, from my point of view, Matt, I feel like you can't complain, because if you complain, what difference is it going to make? Like, you just have to play the map that's in front of you. That's how I look at the majority of the times when new maps get added into the map pool.
I think that's a good mentality to have. I had that mentality when CS2 came out and everyone was complaining, oh, I miss CSGO, it doesn't feel the same, it doesn't play the same. It's like, okay, well, it's never coming back. Dad's never coming back from the shop, he went to get milk, he's never returning. So you might as well figure out life now in this new environment. Don't get caught up hanging on the past, right?
Yeah, for Sashi, you just wonder at what point is the economy going to get themselves in a state where they start losing a couple of players to get lucky on the big green. At the moment, no point in upgrading too heavily towards it. You've got anti-rush util out towards T-Con quite heavily, but no aggression. Paravision putting a little bit more util down to take heavy brown holes to get themselves fast into Pop Dog. Iceberg jiggles and very carefully doesn't quite double dip into the angle.
Yeah, smart there from him to decide against it. And good work from Paravision to get this control so early. This is what I'm talking about, these Poppy players who split through main and Pop. Good util usage, going to force Siphon out of that corner. It's very difficult to clear it, and they're going to be going through the smoke. They're not respecting it, and the corner taken up by Iceberg is a really strong one. He then slides out of position, and he's going to find all three. Oh my goodness, none of them headshots, but that doesn't matter. It's a flawless round from Sashi.
Yeah, Iceberg is a strange individual in terms of his fragging, because I wouldn't call him a high-fragging IGL by any stretch, but he's also a player that's got really big X-factor. He's very good in clutches, has some tidy multi-frags from time to time, and in that one position, he's tucked himself nicely. You've put the smoke down, you're expecting a cancel. If they end up popping, you've got yourself an off. And for him to not only get two, but transfer towards the third, that's an in-game leader making a play that kind of is slowing down a bit of momentum here from Paravision. I like the Hero AK investment. I think in a round like this, low investment, not a lot around it. As long as you can get the pistols into bait, you can set Belchstock for a bit of damage. Try and get a post plant on B.
Oh, sorry, mate. I had wheeled around my room. I muted my mic. Was busy talking. I was like, oh, all right, Dwayne, you can jump in there with a complete... Oh, right, I'm muted. That makes more sense. I was just saying how Kick It's down to $100, and he's obviously dropped that hero AK for Belchenok. I mean, max round loss bonus means it won't be too punishing going into the next round, and they've got some util here to try and enable them getting into this B bomb site. It's going to be smoke spelled in over the top flashes as well. Oh, Becky nearly gets caught with the incendiary out. One's already gotten past. Just prioritize the plant here. And they've been able to get the trade onto Becky as well. So this could start to make things a bit interesting. Paravision want to try and close the gap here in the post plant, but they will just get picked off. Good cleanup crew arriving on B, and Sashi will maintain their flawless start to train.
I think an aspect that Sashi's always featured across a lot of their iterations on the lineup is mainly average to mid anchors. I mean, I look at someone like Quez, statistically very poor, but decent in some of those positions. It's always tough being someone like Becky, who's a newer player, being forced into a lot of solo positions. But that's where perhaps sometimes you need to look at it a little bit more in depth rather than just what the numbers are going to show. I mean, let's just take the last 3 months of Train as an example. 11 maps played since he's joined the roster, 1.02 rating. Not the best of showings, but look,
okay.
From what he's done in the last couple of rounds on the B defense, it's looked okay. He's been stalling for time. He's been doing damage.
Yeah, I don't think he's the guy who has to be dropping 1.1 ratings on Sashi either. I look at Siphon, I look at Lucky, even Cabby in the past has been capable of those sorts of performances. Can't look at the guy coming from the academy team and be like, yeah, mate, come on now. Either way, it's a fantastic start to the follow-up gun round. I mean, 5-0, generally not the end of the world. James has walked into the flames. He's disconnected. I don't know what's going on there, but he's died. And this is a disastrous 6th round for Paravision. Like I was saying, if you go down 5-0 in CS2, it's not the end of the world. They've only had, what, 1 full gun round up until now, but it means there's so much weight on that following gun round, on that 6th round, and they've completely collapsed.
Well, there's mass AKs getting recovered now for the CT side, and unfortunately for Paravision, they just can't work opening picks. Every time they've tried to come out Pop, they've tried to come out T-Con, they're going out Brown Halls to B, they're just losing the opening fights, and they're trying to recover it in the mid to late rounds. So you're getting to a situation with Paravision where fundamentally they play really structured, but you're looking at individuals to create moments. And right now, I mean, no one is performing at even an adequate level individually from Paravision.
Yeah, they've got 8 kills across the board in 6 rounds. That is a huge problem. They're just getting completely out-fragged. So, unsurprisingly, they're going to call for a pause here. I think Joma is their coach, if I'm not mistaken. XOMA, is it pronounced Joma?
For Paravision?
Normally. Is it? Oh, it's Dastan. Right,
yeah,
never mind.
Zoma's
okay.
out on that Astrum team with Patsy.
That's the confusion. Yeah, fair enough. They got Dastan, of course, a long history with Kicken and Travis, Kicken and Jame rather, and yeah, an opportunity now for him to relay some thoughts because we're halfway through this first half, and Paravision needs some rounds on the board.
It's funny that a lot of people obviously know Dastan from coaching VP and a Vanguard, but I even remember casting him when he used to play out on Tengri and the Zarlands roster with guys like Neelan in the Kazakhstani scene. So
that's a throwback.
Yeah, long-time ex-professional player in the Tier 2 landscape. Was certainly a while ago now.
Yeah, he's had some incredible success. Always got a smile on his face as well, which I appreciate. Paravision, they're going to go in for another reinvestment here, which means they're a bit lighter on util. It means they still haven't gotten that AWP on Jame either, who's been their best player. He's 0-6. AWP on T-side Train certainly does have some options. I mean, it's not a very active AWP map on the T side, but you can kind of get yourself on a strong angle. Maybe Ivy, maybe Pop, a main if you've got some support to cover you as well. Speaking of AWPs, Lucky has his train towards Ivy right now. And Paravision, they're setting themselves up for a pop into the, say, bomb site. Now, as I said, they're fairly light and util, but they have enough to make this one work. Who's going to take first contact to try and break into the bomb site? Because Iceberg's waiting for presence, although I think he can dump the util. Yeah, that smoke might actually work out for Paravision. Could give them a little bit of room. Iceberg's going to try and play around said smoke grenade. He's going to come across Kickit, and oh no. Kickit just leaping up there is going to be able to get the kill. That forces Cabby into a really uncomfortable position right now. He's trying to find somewhere that he can just nestle himself in while Lucky's providing cover at range, and he has actually smartly repositioned. The round has been paused because they're trying to give James time to work through Ivy, and he's been spotted. Okay, that pulls Lucky's attention, allows for Kicker to get the kill, and finally Paravision will open up on Train. Or will they? Becky, he's got some 2 kills in the 1v4.
They'll be able to get the bomb down easily, and for Becky, where the money sits, you might as well attempt the retake. I mean, you're not losing anything by saving onto this M4. Even if you go down 1 for 1, you're still doing economical damage to the opposition.
Yeah, absolutely, and they've got plenty money. Becky's going to get the jump on the AWP. He comes so close to fragging Train. He's going to try hard clear Belchenok, but it's not going to happen. So Paravision have now gotten themselves on the board. Has to be a few more where that came from. And, well, it's not like they're going to have much money in reserves. They have to tread lightly going into this 8th.
Excellent composure from Paravision, because first off, because of the incendiary towards Ivy, James knows that there's someone on the back lanes, and Ivy just has had no pressure this entire first half. They haven't even had lurkers there. And even when Belchenok gets the opening kill and Kickit is able to sort of squeeze himself into Olive, they still slow the round down massively to allow both James and Belchenok to search. And then that's where it turns into what is basically a complete collapse. So finally, an impressive round to follow for the T side.
Yeah, like you say, really well worked just in terms of their composure and their patience to give time to the players who are in good positions to take advantage of them. Just recognizing what they had available to them. But they have to follow that up. Like I said, that has to be the start of something. It can't just be a flash in the pan, one round in isolation. Well, Sashi have got a double setup in Ivy, and they're not extending further than the choke point on the opposite end there. They're setting up, waiting for Paravision to head in that direction. One player anti-flash, but Paravision are searching on the opposite side of the map here. Waiting to head into this B bomb site. And it's been padded up by Siphon, so Becky does have some support.
Get that smoke down to Con. Now, previously, you've always had someone towards the back of the bomb train or towards that left-hand side. It's a lot more defensive with the 3 players on B.
Yeah, here we go. Util usage really good, though. Becky's completely blind. Just a couple pot shots, and he's going to find a second kill as well. That's outrageous from Becky. Belchenok doubles down. Pay attention to the kill feed, mate. You haven't killed Becky yet. He's still alive. He's still thriving in the back of the site. Eventually, Kicker will dispatch of him. 1v3 turn 1v2. He's on a swivel. Time ticking away. There's a kit in play. There's plenty utility, and they have a very good idea as to where he is. Oh, man. Just all the time in the world being given to Lucky right now. He's going to be coming through from heaven. Kickit's never anticipating this. He's going to get caught with his back turned. And there we go. Lucky catches a glimpse, and that's all he needed.
Becky's got no idea how he's been able to generate that much impact. The util usage was on point. The problem is, even when they knew that Becky was there on the first encounter, they just couldn't trade him. And they kept sending bodies, they kept putting more and more people in position to drop him, and he just ends up staying alive. And then eventually, just with the composure of basically the CTs consistently rotating players in, you expect him to drop down towards oil, you expect a repos, you don't expect him to be in the exact same position. Paravision, it looked as if they had everything for them, and now I'm looking at how this first half is going down. It feels like there's a lack of threat. It feels like we're very easily going to be going to map number 2 of Ancient.
Yeah, they're running out of time in this first half. Yeah, I think that Train is like a 7-5, 8-4 kind of halftime scoreline. Anything less than that is a T side, and you're going to have a very difficult time going into that second half. Lucky showing some impetus here, taking some initiative with that AWP, able to draw first blood.
Nota now is in a pressured position where he needs to make a difference somewhere. They need to find a returning kill from one of the lurkers instead of just packing. And that's where he goes walking, trying to see if he can get timing. I think that's unfortunate. There's nothing that he could have done about that one.
Oh, man, and Lucky is just posted on the angle. Tight angle held. This is a fantastic round coming through from Sashi. A couple players have been able to at least make their way down ramp undetected for the moment, but their position now made known. Lucky's found another. What a brilliant round coming through from him. He's 14-2, Dweg. He's having a field day, and he's farming Paravision.
Now, what should be noted is that Paravision played Train in their last Compass official. That was the last game of the main Swiss stage for them against Patsy's Astrum team. Now, Train got involved with the opposition map pick, which means Paravision had the choice aside. Now, they decided to start on the city basis. They ended up going 6-6, closed down the second half quickly. They've come into the first round of the playoffs, and they've decided to pick T-side. And it's come back to bite them massively. Even though you might be able to look at the T-side of Train for the majority of teams, of being able to set the pace, being able to set a little bit more of those quicker maneuvers, they have really struggled to find any success at all.
Yeah, it's actually, I hadn't even clocked that. It's a very good point. Sashi must have been thinking, wait, why are we starting on the CT side here on our map pick? This is not, we weren't expecting this, but they're clearly doing a fantastic job of it. I mean, the fact that James and Travis are 0-17 between them in 9 rounds is a disaster. Not at all the start that Paravision would have expected. Especially choosing to start on the T side. I mean, that means they've got some sort of a plan, right? Completely unorthodox, but hasn't paid off.
Maybe just a little bit sleepy going into this best of 3, and I'm convinced that they'll step it up when it comes to Ancient, but from a mindset of Sashi, when you are the underdog, when you're a side that's consistently struggled in best of 3s versus your opposition, this has got to be a great feeling right now.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely going to certainly buoy them here in this game, in this quarterfinal matchup, give them that belief. And Siphon and Yabi have got such similar posture. I mean, obviously, teammates for a long time. Fairly similar skill sets, both very strong riflers. And Iceberg's gone searching. Iceberg, even against the half investment share, is now flexing his muscles. He's on the front lines. He's depriving Parivision of control. And Travis has got the bomb. So if he dies here, that could just be round over. Iceberg will concede control, though, and rather prioritize joining up with his teammates.
They're doing a very good job of blocking. I think we've seen quite often with these outer takes from Paravision. Every time they try and come out pop, it's getting re-smoked. Every time they try and come out T-Con, it's getting incendiaried. With that extra bit of util. I mean, Travis just tries to come back out T-Con, and there it is. Now even the incendiary is going to follow to force Nota out.
I love it when, as a caster, we make a point and it's just immediately shown on the server. It's like, yeah, there we go. That's what I was talking about. Travis has to break the smoke open with a nade here. I think he might... does he have the luxury of waiting for it? Iceberg just has to remain fixed in position right now, and there we go. Travis commits forward. That's the bomb that's been dropped. Iceberg looks for more. That'll cost him his life. Lots of damage done. Bomb still has to be recovered, and Becky in the meantime is now making his way through pop, so he's going to get you just in time. Cabby smartly slides back to prioritize his life, and James has no option but to full commit to the plant, and because Belchnok is focused on connector, okay, James, that's smart positioning to make sure that he can't get caught off guard from anyone coming through from pop, but they're now both hard committed to the bomb site, and Becky's picked up a molly. He's just scooped that up off the floor. He couldn't have found a better piece of utility. Belchnok forced forward, and oh no, Becky doesn't realize he slid back into con, but he'll still get the kill anyway.
And this is one of the rarities I think we've seen from Sashi, at least in recent history, is that they've given a youngster a chance. I'm looking at their previous iterations of the lineup. Mistar's been around the scene for a very long time. Quez been around the scene. Prime, the exact same conversation. You bring in someone
even Ultex as well, right?
Yeah, very much so. So that's trying to change the narrative. I know the local Danish scene features a lot of teams. All you need to look at is the Power League and the Dust 2 League that they've got out there. They've got plenty of divisions, plenty of teams even in Div 1. It's just that very few of them actually get a chance. Very few get the call up. I would say in the past, it was always kind of the Masonic organization that gave younger players a chance, and a lot of them have obviously gone on to have very good prospects.
I feel like that's something that the Danish scene had kind of done well for a long time in like 2019, 2020, giving some of these up-and-coming Danes a chance in some of the teams. Obviously not referring to what Astralis have done. Those were just players to the slaughter, kind of like stopgaps. But yeah, it's good to see that someone like Becky is getting his opportunity and he's delivering. Look at this from Iceberg, again looking to fight on the front foot here. He'll go down, which kind of negates the fact that Siphon's gotten a frag in A main. So at least Parivision can trade evenly here. I mean, they need 9-3, Dweg. It's as simple as that. Anything less than 9-3, and it's surely game over in the first half.
AWP is just pincered to see if there's a walk through this T-Con smoke, and unfortunately for Paravision, it just every time they come out T-Con, they're just getting minced. They're never in trading positions. They're never getting opening chances. They're never even catching the opposition like sort of off guard with maybe either util in hand or repositioning awkwardly. Just very few opportunities in this entire first half.
Well, they have to find a third here, or a second and then the third. I'm convinced anything less than 3 is not going to be enough, and even then 3 is going to be a massively uphill battle for them as they try and find a way back into A.
Well, this should be a save. I mean, unless Belchnok gets a kill in Ivy, they should be saving here.
Yeah, you're right. With 20 seconds on the clock, this is basically impossible. And Siphon is in such a strong position as well. And if they lose these guns, they've got nothing in the next. So save probably makes the most. Set down 9-1. I don't think that's what you want to be doing. And it is going to be an easy cleanup for Siphon. The player who opened up the round basically shuts it down as well. And that's double digits for Sashi inside 11 rounds.
So we've seen some one-sided map picks for Sashi across this competition. The 13-4 that they had against 9 a few weeks ago. They were able to get a 13-7 as well versus the Z10 roster at one point. It's just that whenever I cast Sashi, and when I look at the majority of their results, they're not normally a team that can bomb 13-1s, 13-2s. You normally see quite a lot of overtimes and 13-11s. They drag a lot of series out, so this is completely unusual to what we normally get.
Oh, look at this. James is the first player to go into the A bomb site, but it's just to try and draw attention away from B, which is where Paravision are headed right now, and Lucky is looking to lock it down. He's been able to find 2. He knows there's a 3rd. It's going to be a tag, but not the frag. Okay, so even numbers game for Paravision right now. Rotations have come through, though. And in the meantime, I mean, James has been able to successfully make his way through A all the way into the back lines. However, Iceberg is making moves of his own. What an active half from Iceberg. He's 14-4. Second top fragger here for Sashi. He's had so much impact on the defensive half. Gun picked up, and Cabby doesn't actually hear that. I thought he might have. James will compromise his position. A 1 versus 3 tone 1v2 here. Come on, James. Your team needs this round here. And he's not going to get it. What a half here from Sashi.
Yeah, this is going to be Paravision second-guessing themselves about picking the T side, but fundamentally, it wasn't even close. We saw a lot of individual impact, a lot of X-Factor from the opposition, and for Paravision, at least if they were kind of losing rounds in 2v2s or maybe off of timings, you'd look at that and say individually we were up there, but we didn't quite have that that quality to finish the rounds. They just had nothing. I mean, there was just no impact, no threat. I can't remember the last time that I've seen a game from them or even a map from them where the numbers are this low. It's just, it's not a Paravision looking squad today at all.
Not at all. And it could just be an off day, right? It could be an off game. Maybe the break between maps is what they'll need to just reset themselves. Maybe, much like me, they knocked their coffee over just before the game went live and they're lacking that caffeine injection. Either way, see if they can inject some rounds here into this map because they're on the brink of losing it and we've only played one half. Sashi setting themselves up for a big push into this B bomb site. They've got a lot of utility. They've got heaps of util right now. 2 players committing to that utility. No upgraded pistols, and that's going to give them all the chances they need to actually get into the B bomb site here and find a plant at the bare minimum. Hot shots being rattled off, nothing really connecting. Eventually, though, frags will be found. Can't do much about the bomb plant, so at least Sashi get that extra little bit of money, but should be no way to win the round from here.
Now, the best that they can hope for is a bit of exit kills that will help the force up. And for Iceberg, he's being trapped out here from Oil. He's not exactly getting the most of support from Cabby. Backstab's coming out from Ramp that's undetected, so Travis gets a freebie. And now Cabby, he's getting swarmed from all sides. At least he's done a little bit of damage towards Nota. Needs to try and get that headshot. Travis is even backstabbing out from Heaven, so the Glock isn't going to get any more than that. Decent signs from Belchnok to get 2 kills almost instantly when he's required, but for Sashi, I'd like to see them buy it up here. Keep that pressure high. Give just no respect to the opposition at all.
Yeah, you've got such a massive runway. He has so many rounds to play with. You want to try and, like you say, keep up as much pressure as possible. Those were the round-defining frags for Belchnok, because if he goes down there, then those players are on the front foot for Sashi, and they can continue to close the gap in the bomb site here.
Yeah, Sashi will look at closing Train down quickly to give themselves Ancient, because I do look at their Ancient and think it's one of their weaker maps in the pool, so confidence is going to be high if they seriously want to try and threaten the series, as unlikely as that sounds.
Yeah, I think finishing off Train here as quick as possible would give them the best chance going into Ancients. And look at this, talk about a fast-paced approach. They have indeed gone along with the Force Buy, and they've got full side control. I don't even know if Paravision can consider the retake here from this position that they're in right now. They've got 1 kit, they've got some util, but they don't even have a foothold in the bomb side. Talking about that block utility being thrown by Sashi on the T side, they've just done that here to win the, on the CT side. They've done that to win the round here on the T side as well. Paravision, you absolutely can't afford to go for this any longer. You're way too far gone at range. Another kill comes through. And I love the round that's just come through from Sashi, considering they've just bullied Paravision.
Well, unfortunately for Belchnok, it's just not good enough to get rushed. It doesn't matter if it's a gun round, whether it's a half buy, whether it's a light and deco. As a B-site anchor, your job is to do 2 things. It is to stall for time, and it is to do damage. And instead, he's done basically none of that. He's not blocked. He's not been able to force rotations in time towards connector and spawn, and he's just getting no impact out of that org. And you can sit there and say, yeah, but look at the position he's in. Okay, he's not in a position where he can maybe get a kill and fall back. He's in a 1 for done. Well, then, if he is in that position, then he needs to at least be getting 1.5 kills, and that just didn't happen on B.
Yeah, and once he gets run over, it's basically just, alright, well, that's round over. Job done. 12-2. What a disaster here for Parivision. What an incredible performance from Sashi on their map pick. 10 map points. 10 chances to get the job done. Oh, okay. Lucky gets out of A main, but he's completely blinded up. Kickit will find him. Good follow-up util usage as well. Means that they've got a big advantage here in the round.
And just leaving teammates high and dry out there towards Olive. Not getting that util support. Instant press from the CT line. Gets a bit of a freebie. And now for Sashi, there's not going to be much here. I mean, you've got Galil for Cabby. You've got a Mac 10 for Becky. It's going to have to be contact heavy, and you're going to be reliant on individuals making plays. Now, right now for Cabby and Iceberg, they were grouping, but they didn't quite jump on that opportunity to get the likes of Travis, so you start forcing movement elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, where do Sashi go from here? They've got a healthy amount of utility at their disposal. And I mean, it would make the most sense to just group up with the 3 remaining players and try and hit into a bomb site from there. Just try and employ some strength in numbers kind of mentality. Should be no way Parivision lose the round from here. Belchnok's just jiggling. He's got the smoke grenade primed, so he can just drop the smoke as soon as he spots some presence. There we go. Continue to buy time. Jame will rotate across. And there should be no way into the bomb site now for Sashi because Parivision know what's coming their way. Jame is joined up with Belchnok on the scene. They are going to be coming with 2 players through from heaven. And Jame is going to be the one in task with making sure that he controls that. Oh, Mac 10 from Becky has jumped through the smoke, but Belchnok will be able to find that frag. And there we go. Parivision will keep themselves alive for a little bit longer.
And out of any teams in this comp, I think Parivision are one of the strongest of returning comebacks. Not obviously to a map victory like in this situation, but to at least maybe get yourself up to 6, 7, 8. Feel as if you finally contested this first map of the series and you've given a little bit back to yourself. You've kind of had some redemption in the second half.
Yeah. Saved your face a little bit, improved the mood of the camp going into that next map.
Yeah. It's all been individual rounds from them. They've not been able to follow up any. And that's been probably one of the main issues, especially in the first half, of being reset on the economy constantly.
Yeah, nothing consecutive. No rounds being strung together here from Parivision just yet. And obviously, if they can't manage that here, then they lose the map. And it looks like they want to go searching. Oh, Kickit and Nota, they're on the front lines. Iceberg Tech 9 going to swing first. But Becky, not just trading. He's been able to find that second frag as well. Travis will kind of negate the impact with the frag back of his own. Siphon, he'd love to get in on the action right now. He's searching, not the cleanest spray from him. He knows that might draw Travis out, though. Very good awareness there from Siphon to find that kill and get a man advantage for Sashi. Again, good positioning from Siphon, but he can't hit the shot. Now, Becky has taken full B-side control in the meantime. Again, great game sense, great read. Belchnok is the one who's rotating through, and he's making noise. I don't think he's going to anticipate Becky being so deep right now. He's just creeping his way forward, but narrowly misses the opportunity as Belchnok is able to get back into connector. Plant will be found, and Parivision still have a chance. It's not a great one, but they have a chance.
Becky's got to get a good timing because he doesn't want to expose himself because of the low HP, but it's planted open towards spawn. So it might be that Becky only gets activated once the bomb's been tapped, or at least util's been thrown towards the bomb.
Yeah, he needs some sort of confirmation that there's not going to be any follow-up from CT, and now that we are halfway gone with the bomb, he's thinking, okay, maybe now I can shift my focus, and how has he bested Belchnok? Jame will get one back, and he's the one with the kit, a flash, and he's against Becky. It's experience against youth right now. He taps that defuse to try to draw Becky out. Becky's repositioned smartly, though, and he'll get the job done. What a map from Becky and Sashi at large.
And for Sashi, they've come into this best of 3, they've made a little bit of a statement. They've got something to prove in this isolated game, because I'm not big on them. I think they've struggled with form from event to event, from day to day. And especially against Parivision, they normally don't have much of a chance. They struggle to even post what I would call decent maps. Whereas we come into today and it's a whitewash. It's a complete blowout on map 1.
Yeah, and I mean, completely deserve it, because it's not like that game was handed to them on a silver platter, right? They were super active on their CT side, making really good plays, constantly disrupting. Parivision fighting pop, fighting main, some good setups, some good rotations. They just looked like a really solid team across the board there, and that is a performance that they can be proud of, man. As for Parivision, just took them way too long to pitch up on the server.
I'm not concerned about them, though, because I look at their recent run. We spoke about it at the beginning of the day. Being in 2 grand finals recently and being in qualification positions to get to LANs, they are a top-end tier 2 team. Now, we can sit here and make excuses for them in map 1 about not being on the same page, individually not looking there, just maybe a tired morning. that should not continue on their map pick and should not continue going into a third map decider.
Yeah, I feel like they've got enough experience, Dustin behind them, as well as the coach will be able to help them just reset between maps and put behind them what just happened on Train. But I think Sashi are going to be massively motivated by what just happened. They're certainly going to be feeling good about themselves, and why wouldn't they? I mean, you can just see the numbers there alone, very impressive across the board. And as for Parivision, well, going into Ancient, they have to win. They have to win there to force it to a third, because this is the quarterfinals, single elimination, and getting eliminated here in the quarterfinals by Sashi would certainly be a blight on their record.
And perhaps it might track with Parivision as an organization. They have never got past the first round of the playoffs. I think back to spring of last year and summer of last year when it was Patsy and Art Frost and sort of the Belchadok and Kickit lineup. They always went out in the first round. They went out to 3D Max, they went out to Monty, and I'm looking at them today and I'm saying, okay, it might be a slightly different iteration of the lineup. The history, it's tracking.
Okay, well, they're going to be hoping that isn't the case, because, well, they're down 0-1 in the series right now. Their next map is going to be Ancient. It's the pick of Parivision. Hopefully, they'll be able to actually get on the server and show us what they're capable of, what we know they've been doing lately. We're going to have a bit of a break now, guys, so don't go too far. When we come back, we'll jump into map 2.
She said she loves you. But she can't love me.
But I love you.
Yeah. Look, all of my men's going crazy. I gotta break on myself, I amaze me. Like I'm back in the 80s.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one. YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb dropped, coughed up behind it at the edge of. Away with a kill, but quick trade back from Ariel. Still through the
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go!
Pretty quick affair on the first map. It was the pick of Sashi and they dominated Train. It's as simple as that, 13-3. There was really not much of a struggle or a challenge for them on either half. They coast to victory and they're one map away from the semi-final now, Dweg.
Indeed they are, and I mean, you've just got to hope for a bit of entertainment, because I don't think it was very entertaining watching Train. It's a blowout, it's a whitewash against what should be a contending team for the title. So this is where Paravision need to lock in, really jump up to the plate, and know that if we don't give a good performance, we're just going to go out early. And after how some of their recent results have gone in terms of tournament placings, going out top 8 versus Sashi is unacceptable.
Yeah, that's the key there against Sashi, a team who came from the closed qualifier, then just scraped by in the group stage. You draw them in the quarterfinal, it's like, well, we could have gotten Passion UA, could have gotten Astrum. Like, this has got to be one of the easier draws for us now playing against Sashi. But it didn't seem like that way at all in the first map. I mean, we've spoken about how Paravision just looked lackluster, but Sashi looked incredible on Train, just in terms of how active they were. So I was making the point that it didn't feel like that game was handed to them on a silver platter. They went out there, they won that game on their own terms.
It's true, but I don't think that that's going to carry on for the rest of the series. I think their city side of Ancient is very weak. I'm not sold on their B side Anchor. I mean, Iceberg is in Cave. I think that they're going to struggle against a lot of the timings that are going to be exploited by Belchnock and Nota working out elbow, Kicker and Travis working lane, Jame with how much movement he's going to be creating in both the first half and the second half. This is going to be really difficult to restrict the likes of Paravision and kind of push for a 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, this is their bread and butter. Outside of Dust 2, this is a map that they're super comfortable on. Our Paravision, like you say, just kind of really lends itself to the skill sets of the players. Players like Belchnock and Nota. Obviously, Ancient's a very active map, and those guys love to be active. They're always very trustworthy as well, reliable players. And yeah, I think that Sashi should struggle, but I don't think I'm as convinced as you are that this is definitely going to a third map. Not only predicated off of like what we've seen from teams in the past on Ancient, but just based on what we saw on Train. Like, we're banking on Paravision standing up, right? But that's not a guarantee that that's going to happen. They haven't proven that they're here just yet.
I think the problem with Sashi is that you look at their map pool of Ancient, they've played, what, 24 officials in the last 3 months, 7 wins. Who's the best opponent that they've beaten, at least remotely recently? I mean, are you kind of throwing in maybe an Eyeballers? If you are, you're probably pushing the boat. If you throw it in a squad like Partisan, I'd maybe give you a pass there and say, okay, they've threatened playoff positions in the past, but there's not a single top-end Tier 2 team that they've beaten on this map, where at least on Mirage they have, at least on Train they have. I can't say the same on Ancient.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Paravision have also been pretty reliable on the map. Beat Astrum 13-11. They beat TNL. And I mean, I know TNL don't have the most crazy name value, but they're very good at the game.
Yeah.
And they have some strong individuals who have been in some fantastic form. So I'd even look at that win over TNL and say that supersedes any win that Sashi have had over any teams recently. So it should be Paravision, but again, I'm just a little bit hesitant based on what we saw on Train, where they look very slow and lethargic. And I mean, just seeing Jame 0-8, Travis 0-9 is just like, okay, I mean, yeah, not ideal.
And you got to remember for Paravision, right? I mean, they're what, 36th on the Valve ranking. They unfortunately had a bit of a disappointing local LAN recently. They're in a position now where they're starting to get close to the invite zone of Tier 1 LAN tournaments. So because you get closer and closer to that boundary, you just have to be making sure that you're never being eliminated earlier. And that's maybe where there's even more pressure in these sort of quarterfinals against underdog teams, where you just know, right, let's win this tournament, let's get first place, let's put ourselves towards the end of next week in a position that we could be top 30 in the world, especially with the other tournaments that they're participating in.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier, where the goals and aspirations of these two teams are different when they come into these sorts of competitions. If Paravision bomb out in the quarterfinals, it would be described appropriately by saying they bombed out. If Sashi get eliminated in the quarterfinals, let's say, yep, great run from them to have reached the quarterfinals. So let's see exactly what Ancients has in store for us. It's going to be Paravision who have to start off on the T side. Of course, Sashi get to choose which half of the map they start on, and they're making a bit of a move, a bit of an excursion down ramp. They're getting info. They see that there's nobody here, so they can maybe get a little bit ahead of this big execute into the A bomb site. Util starts to rain on in. There's going to be a smoke for CT. There's going to be a smoke for Donut. There's going to be a molly for the back of the site, so they don't have to clear it out. And now they just start to barrel everybody forward, forcing their way forward, forcing these fights. Glocks leading the charge, and it looks pretty good initially. Iceberg will make his way back through the smoke to get a kill. Bomb plant secured, and oh no! Bomb plant's been denied in the last second by Iceberg through the smoke. He's looking for more. Smoke starts to fade. A flash is found, and that will blind Iceberg up. It's going to be a re-aggression coming through from the CT side. They're forcing their way through the donut smoke, and they're finding success. They've taken the fight to Paravision. It's just Nota left remaining. It's a brilliant first frag found from him, and Cabby only has 67 health, so a headshot from the Glock would be enough to finish it off. He knows exactly where Cabby is. There's plenty time here to play this one out, but Cabby won't take any time. He'll take the head instead.
And we get to a moment there where Sashi play it correctly. You never want to give a huge amount of respect, especially on a pistol. Iceberg is just being annoying out here towards spawn. I think those Julies are spamming quite a lot from Donut too. And then eventually when the bomb plant does get denied, that's the cue for everyone to start swarming, for everyone to start over-peaking, make it really uneasy for the T side. It does get down into an uncomfortable clutch situation, but they come out on top. Now, for Paravision, this is now their 47th best of 3 on HLTV in the last 3 months, and the 13th time that Ancient has been their map pick. You mentioned that Dust 2 is their go-to. In this isolated best of 3, you do have to go to your second best in the poll.
And your second best as Paravision has to be enough to beat Sashi. Like, that's it's as simple as that, really. Shouldn't be, oh, we don't get Dust 2. Well, wrap it up, boys. Here's going to be the full eco here from Paravision. I can't believe how they managed to deny the bomb plants in the pistol. That was in the last second, the last tick, I reckon. And now it's just about cleaning up against the pistols. Not going to have much of a problem with that. Kick it left, not for much longer. Clean 2-0 here for Sashi as we head into the first gun round.
And I'm looking at some of the numbers from the side of Sashi last 3 months on Ancient, and it looks weak. And that's probably because it is one of the weaker maps in the pool, but Lucky, who had a stellar performance out map number 1, averages a 1.0 rating. A Cabby, B-side Anchor, 0.91. Zyphon, meant to be a little bit more of those star active roles, 1.02. It's just, I think it's going to be tough for them to replicate some of those individual performances that we saw on map 1 and bring it into map 2.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, tendencies suggest that this should be Paravision every single day of the week. But we're in the playoffs, and statistics don't mean as much when there's pressure on the line. You'd expect Paravision to be the better team playing under under pressure. Either way, look at the activity here from Sashi. Becky decides against continuing to commit. He may have actually gotten a kill if he did, but we'll play the safer option instead.
See, it's intriguing, Matt, that you talk about pressure in the playoffs, because from my point of view, what pressure is there? I mean, this isn't
mental.
Yeah, but is there? I mean, it's a quarterfinal matchup versus a weak team, and you should be beating them every day of the week. Like, I don't see the same level of pressure in this tournament that I do in some of the others, like an ECL or maybe even an MRQ, if we're going to compare the two.
Yeah, that's probably a fair point, as we do see Paravision just looking to brute force their way up ramp, and they will trade successfully. Siphon gets 2 to kind of give Cabby a chance. He's trying to get ahead of this by pushing up short. James wrapping around, and Cabby reads into that. Belchnock's fairly low. AK scooped up here for Cabby. He's got a kit as well. Belchnock's going to try reposition, but he's been spotted. I don't know if Belchnock knows that he's been seen, and he's going to try and go the entire way around here. No, this is actually a pretty brave play from Belchnock. Is he going to try and line up the wall bang? Surely that's not too reliable in the 1 versus 1. And no, instead he's going to go the whole way around. Cabby has picked up another smoke grenade. He's going to just try and tuck himself in an awkward position, and there we go. Belchnock will emerge. So just to kind of add on to the points I was making with pressure, I get that it's not high pressure in terms of what's on the line. I think it's the expectation on Parivision right now that they have to win against Sashi, and also that they have to make a deeper run in the competition. So it's not pressure because it's a big tournament that they're playing in. It's more pressure that there's the expectation and the VRS points as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, for Parivision, they know that you're only getting into the bounty and the money zone once you get into the top 8. There's no qualification, there's no qualifier winning this tournament, so it's all about bounty. Aside from the anti-rush util out towards elbow, but they're hearing it from the donut perspective, just a fast A-main aggression.
Oh man, lucky, very good flash to force him off the angle momentarily. That's as soon as the kick it swings. Lots of damage being done both ways, and that's going to be a kill from James onto Cabby. So man advantage will persist here for Parivision as they look to try and weather the storm on the, say, bomb site. They've got the numbers to do it. I don't even know if Sashi want to attempt this yet. Looks like they're going to accept their fate and call it a day. So Parivision will level it up. A much better starter on Ancient from them.
Well, it's nice to see the pace changer as well. I think that's something that Kicket's got in his back pocket that maybe James didn't have on VP. When you watch the majority of their T-sides on, well, probably not Dust 2, because you can't really have aggro moves on Dust 2, but maps like Ancient, maps like Mirage, we see a lot quicker, what I would say are either rushes or execs on their T-side gun rounds than we ever saw on VP. It maybe be like 1.5 that we would see from them previously, whereas now it can sometimes happen 3, even 4 times. So it's a complete change of attack of mindset, and that's probably Kicket taking over the reins rather than James.
Yeah. Also, kind of the way CS2 plays, right, lends itself to more that type of a style. So kind of keeping up with the meta, keeping up with the times, evolving your game necessarily, and they're a lot more fun to watch, that's for sure. I mean, VP, they're still playing very similar sort of style of Counter-Strike when James was leading there, but Parivision, that they have evolved.
Yeah, maybe just trying to prove that you're not like the big system in which a lot of those ex-players still have that same system, even in a different team, even with different lineups, that they can be different, that they can adapt. Now, this setup in Donut is just to try and bring someone into the M4, just like it is in Cave. They're trying to get the USPs to draw in a bit of an overfight, and then that's where one of the 2 rifles might be able to find some impact.
And they're going to have to thrive. It's all predicated on the rifles, and like you say, bait and switch setups being employed, but Parivision not being baited into them, and Molly still to flush Becky out. There we go, frag found on him. Iceberg's M4 also just been demolished, so there goes any chance of the round for Sashi. It is essentially an eco for them. They'll be looking to buy in the next, but Parivision, for the first time in the series, will get themselves a lead.
And I know we sort of started this best of 3 talking about how frequently Parivision are kind of getting the 1-up, that it's been 4 best of 3s being won from them in head-to-head since the start of the year. This is maybe where we start talking about some of these Ancient officials that had come in. You think back all the way in March, they had a 13-6. I think back to only about a month ago in April, it was a 13-9. It's always been quite comfortable, and the best that Sashi's been able to do in the past is at least take a Mirage once, take a Train once, and force third map deciders. You don't want that rivalry to always be either a 2-0 or 2-1 to Parivision. At some point, especially in a playoff game, you'd love to be able to try and eliminate your opposition.
Yeah, and actually make a statement that, hey, we have what it takes to beat you in an official. Belchnock's going to have a massive shadow advantage. Free frag for him, AK denied. But yeah, you're right. You want to have a bit of a say in the rivalry. It's not much of a rivalry if you're never beating your opponent, right? So maybe today will be that day for Sashi. Long road ahead still, though.
Yeah, well, it's a tough day for them because, a couple of hours' time, they're playing Astrum in CCT, and that's a game that's 1 and 2 of the main Swiss, so you either go on for another game or you get eliminated there. And then tonight, you've got a quarterfinal matchup versus ENCE. So you're kind of getting no layup game in any of those best of 3s.
True. I mean, all 3 of those are almost like equally as difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough day. I think anytime playing 2 or more best of 3s, it's a heavy workload. But to have 3 best of 3s in which all of them could be eliminations out of tournaments, yeah, tough day for Sashi.
And you're the underdog in all 3 of those games as well, so you really do have your work cut out for you. It's a marathon of a day here for Sashi. They have to try and, make sure they pace themselves adequately as we do come into another gun round. No AWP for Lucky. There is an AWP for James. T-side AWP on Ancient doesn't really have many options. You can kind of get boosted up in the box, try and hold a line and be bomb side. Outside of that, there's no like go-to plays. No, kick it in those icebergs there from the trajectory of the smoke, but iceberg still comes out on top of the fight anyway. In the meantime, Paravision are going to make a move into the same bomb side as they start to dump their utility.
Yeah, Belchnock needs that entry, needs to try and get a duel in there before the donut smoke goes down. Cabby heard out from Spawn, and Belchnock's trying to see if he can tuck himself and play anti-flash. Try and see if anyone's going to go forward of that CT smoke.
Here we go. He's now got the information man advantage now for Sashi on the retake. There's a kit and there's a smattering of utility in the mix here for them as well. That's a very late smoke in Temple. That's going to be enough to deny Sashi that avenue of entry. And this is where the AWP really can come into the equation. It's in the post plant. This is where it can do some of its best work. And James drawn blood. Sashi will still try and get themselves a bit of a foothold in the bomb site. They've dropped a smoke on the C4. Becky's the only one with the kit. So if anyone's going to stick to the defuse, it's going to have to be him. He's trying to, but he immediately goes down. It's a fantastic defense here on the site from Paravision in the post plants, and that will seal them a fourth.
That post plant was incredibly difficult from Paravision, because we can break it down on the majority of bomb sites for both A and B, especially on Ancient. You need to be taking space, otherwise you get suffocated against the retakes. And it sort of happens there for Paravision. They haven't been able to take Donut, and they haven't been able to take Temple. The only space they have is A main, which is being smoked off. So you're very reliant on your Temple player on the edge of the smoke to kind of get that one kill. You're very reliant on James producing impact from the big box, which is exactly what he did. And that was not easy, but Paravision make themselves look comfortable towards the end of that round.
Yeah, it was well done from them just to keep their composure, as they could be able to, or should be able to go up 5-2 now. I wonder if we just have a blowout on the first and the second map, both teams just dominating their respective picks. Wouldn't be unfathomable.
I thought you were convinced that there was a 2-0 chance here, Matt.
I wasn't. No. I said I wasn't as convinced by you that we were going to a third.
Yeah,
but
right.
Now that I've been able to peek behind the curtain, they're convincing me. They're winning me over here.
They're doing a good job of searching, because you always know in these limited investments you could be up against a heavy stack. So the more util that you drive in and the more space you have, the better the understanding is of where the options are. And right now towards Red Room, there is a lot of CTs.
They've kind of missed their window of opportunity of trying to find a fight in middle, though, but perhaps they could get a pretty quick backstab through Donut. I mean, this will start to get checked by Jane with the Zorp. Yeah, very good work from him, edging his way out. Becky will find the trade. Nice 1D, and Nota's going to get caught on the drive-by. Okay, there's a CT player now trying to get in on the action as well, and he has. He's found a kill. This is completely turned around on its head. It's Belchnock and it's Kick It, and they stacked up on top of each other. They're tripping over each other, but maybe they can then just combine forces here. Oh my goodness, they're not over-facing either. This is really good discipline from them. The flash is perfect, and Belchnock will go down as a result. Kick It looking to try and win the round for his team. Siphon doesn't have much health. He doesn't have much time either. Kick It is desperately trying to play that time factor. Nade doesn't finish off Kick It. Down to 4 points of health. That's the job done. He even gets the kill to seal the deal.
Now, Matt, I don't think that was poorly played from Sashi, but I think it was poorly done with quality. That's a 4 versus 2 where you should be winning that round every single day of the week. You've got mass players in from Donut. You've got a spawn individual with how much time was remaining on that bomb. That should just be the round completed. And I get the feeling, especially against a squad to the level of Paravision, if you're not exploiting those sort of moments in games, if you're not taking rounds that should be won, you're just going to lose the best of 3. You're just not going to show enough to be able to close out map 2 or map 3 for me.
Yeah, if you're not winning those sorts of rounds, then that's might as well just wrap it up and call it a day. 4v2, time plenty. And it's not like Paravision had fantastic post-plant positions either, stacked up on top of each other, but they managed to make it work. And that's a really big blow to Sashi's chances. That would have been a reprieve for them here in the first half, but goes amiss. And now if they lose this gun round, it feels like Paravision have just got all the momentum in the world.
Yeah, well, I want to see Sashi take some space. I mean, we haven't seen a shelf play from them. We haven't seen a smoke down on B doors for them to take ramp. It's been very defensive being held for the majority of these gun rounds from them.
And it looks like it's going to be more of the same here in this round as well. Lucky has his AWP for the first time here on the map. Maybe that could be a difference maker.
Even Iceberg and Cave, it's like BTN playing outside on Nuke for Nexus. I just don't get it.
I hear you.
I realize as a call-up, you want to be in the active roles, but I just don't think you get the firepower level for Iceberg for him to warrant being a cave player on the city side.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I completely agree with that. I think it can be difficult sometimes to try and hide those weaker fraggers on the map, and then you've got Becky as his right-hand man on the B bomb side. Arguably, generally the two weakest fraggers on the side of Sashi. And they've got a massive job on the CT side of Ancient, and they're going to be tested in a big way as well. Becky trying to hold off his smoke grenade there for as long as he can to try and negate the impact of the util thrown by Paravision. So that one smoke can kind of cancel out two smokes and a molly, but Paravision are just not going to respect it. Broken open with the nade. Sashi have set themselves up already, though, for a retake. They've got numbers over on the correct side of the map, and they've been able to draw first blood as well. Nota wants to try and fight back. Oh, and he catches a glimpse of a couple of them as the smoke fades. Tough to find the space now for the bomb plant. They're going to have to frag their way, and Nota's doubled down. That's incredible work from him. But all that does is earn a bomb plant and an even numbers game. So his heroics have just kept it level here for Paravision. Again, Sashi in another retake situation here. And again, they don't have much util. They've got a kit, but just nothing on offer from Paravision right now. You've got James off posted on ramp, but he's been blocked off by that smoke grenade. So this is going to be difficult now for Paravision, and in fact, curated has kind of just submitted himself to the wall bang here to try and deny that defuse. He doesn't get it on the first burst. Second burst does a lot of damage. He's just going back and forth, but James, no ways through the smoke and the corner of the walls enough to get the kill. curated though, blows his load with the other mag, and that's not going to be enough.
Oh man, curated done very well there. They both have. Considering that even though you know where the bomb is, when you're spamming in the CTs, because you could see it in the positions, they're all trying to get on the edge and look down right in the corner. They make it very uncomfortable to know exactly where to be spamming. A couple more spam bullets, a couple more strays, and you've probably won that round. From Paravision, that got extremely close. But look at what that's done to the economy. I mean, Lucky doesn't have the AWP. You've got two for Masters. This is prime opportunity to go 7-3 up now if you're Paravision. Force the reset in round 9.
Yeah, it's one of those rare instances where losing a round could in some weird way actually be beneficial here for Paravision. If they win the following round, right? It's all about capitalizing on that opportunity. Otherwise, it just gets lost with the wind. And they are going to try and go back into A. They've done some good work on the side of the map so far. Cabby tucked in behind the box, so will double down, goes completely unchecked. He should get traded out. He's going to get forced into the open by the molly, so at least James can get the frag back. But Cabby's done his job.
They've got themselves a red walk. They're waiting for Nota to find impact onto one before they can sort of start excelling or start making a mid-round call. Now, the bomb is dropped out to A, so Nota knows that the B player has not crossed in spawn just yet of Becky. So he's got to be somewhere either towards lane or out here, and that's why he's trying to clear as many of these cubby angles as possible.
Yeah, in the meantime, Sashi know they've got that bomb rooted on the A site, so they've got the lion's share of the defense over on that side of the map. There's no one who's actually looking in towards Red Room right now here for the CT side, though. They're kind of relying on Becky, who's just intermittently looking in this direction. 38 seconds. Nota seems to know he's got Becky trapped in. They down know for a fact, that's for sure. And they will get that kill. That's going to put immense amounts of pressure on the same bomb side. It's kind of forced them to make a bit of a move. Iceberg's gone searching through Donut, straight into James' crosshair. Oh no, Paravision now have that man advantage. It's Siphon, and it's Lucky to try and save the day here. Oh, and Lucky's just been run over by a truck. And Paravision, I mean, they made that look easy.
Indeed they did, and this is where I'm probably going to rip in a little bit and say, fundamentally, that's just such a poor round from Sashi. First off, why is Becky not in a position where he's just jiggling? Like, he could sit there in the temple entrance and just jiggle. He cannot set a crossfire with any of his teammates on A. His job is to spot and slow them from Red Room or a lurk on B. Instead, he's committed to a fight where he's found absolutely no impact, and then from that point onwards, it means the A players need to search and they go straight into the timing of James. That's a 4v3 that's unlosable.
Yeah, the bomb dropped fully in their control, and you're bang on the money. The positioning doesn't make any sense there from Becky, because if he is jiggling in temple, he's covering the same bases, except he's much safer, and he can escape. When you're committed in that corner, you're just never going to be able to get out once they realize that you're there.
Yeah, even if he was on B, even if he's jiggling from long or behind that little box towards short, I don't even mind that either. Give the respect to spawn. Ooh, Sashi will be kicking themselves. And even when you consider how strong they've looked on the ecos, it's felt at times that they've looked better on these rounds than they have on the gun rounds. I mean, it was a 2-0 beginning from Sashi, and now they're potentially going down 3-7 in the first half.
Yeah, like you say, they came incredibly close to actually winning one of these sort of rounds earlier on in the half, and now Paravision are going to head into B. This is stacked up for Sashi. Oh my goodness, Iceberg on the drive-by with 5-7 gets 2, and surely this is impossible now for Nota. Has a little bit of time to work with. Problem is, guns have been recovered. en masse. There's 2 AKs. Bomber's in full control of Sashi again. Surely they're not going to drop the ball this time round, right?
Not this time. You've got a situation for Paravision that when they broke the smoke at top ramp in the previous, it was a very defensive line, whereas this time players are sort of swarming. I think there's a change of mindset on how they want to attribute that sort of position. And Nota is just banking on some overly aggressive duels, but he gets nothing out of it. And for Sashi, it's 3 AKs that can get recovered. It's a very good run-up to try and make it 6-6 at the turn of the half. And Paravision will be fuming off of this one. Jeez, what an opening shot that is from both off Lucky. But then Iceberg to just walk through the red room smoke against a T-side lurk out in mid.
Yeah, maybe a revitalization for Sashi here on their CT side. There's 2 rounds left to be played. I mean, 8-4, yeah, I don't have much hope for them at that point. 6-all, yeah, they're alive. They're in the contest if they can get 6-all. And if they can win this round here, then 6-all's ripe for the taking, because Paravision just won't have much money going into the last round of the half.
And what we've seen from Sashi is that while they've contested tournaments, they've always gone out early. I mean, I'm looking at Level Up Lund, and they went out to 9 in the semi-finals, the exact same thing in the Gamebox Festival LAN tournament. Even most recently, the Tipsport Conquest of Prague online tournament, they had a single best of 3 to get themselves into the play-ins and couldn't even beat Partizan, couldn't even qualify to that LAN. And then I'm looking at some of the online results. I mean, Rainbet Cup, as soon as they get into the playoffs, opening game against Eklot, can't take a map. Opening game against Navi Jr. and Thunderpick, round of 16, can't win a map. There are so many tournaments recently from Sashi that every time they get into the first round of the playoffs or there's something that they can jump on, they just can't quite close out the series.
Yeah, I don't know what that's necessarily down to. I mean, they've got experienced players. I think that's just where you run into more difficult opposition generally. I mean, obviously, right, and maybe that's where they start to get found out. Just the ceiling, maybe not high enough to get across the line in some of these tournaments. Do you think it's like a choke factor? Do you think it's a pressure thing? And I don't know if you have some time to answer now. It just looks like Paravision are setting themselves up for a big burst.
Yeah, I don't think it's a choke. I think it's just a quality factor. I just don't think you're probably right with the ceiling. I mean, even with the resmoke towards ramp, there's not much of a defense here on B. Both of the CTs are sitting back, they're holding passively. So the best that they can hope for is spam. And breakage of the smoke gives Becky 1, but it should still make the bomb go down easily.
At least they get something before they completely relinquish full control, though, and they've got the rotations over in the right direction. Paravision have looked pretty damn good in these post plants, though, even when they have been at a disadvantage. Let's see if they can make it work here once again. There's no further util being thrown in by this T side, so they're going to have to just try and lock it down with the fights, and Nota wants to force his way up long. Sashi are waiting for this, though. Kick It will also get in on the act. Can he double down? He can. He punishes Lucky's missed shot. It's only Siphon left remaining. He has got a smoke, but he's got no kit, and Paravision are avoiding him like the plague. Bomb's been planted out in the open. He's going to tap the defuse off the back of the smoke, and that's going to allow for him to get the kill, but he still doesn't have a kit, which means he's got no time. I don't think that there's one for him to pick up here either, and Paravision have done it. By forcing their way up long in the post plant, they've won the round.
Well, the difference there, Matt, is that they've actually taken space. Now, think back to that round on A, where they kind of get separated out to Big Box and A main and Temple. They haven't taken Donut. We've had previous rounds on B where they weren't even able to take long. It was, Nota that sort of had to play an off angle to get a couple of kills. This is now a change-up. They've gotten slightly more aggressive. They've put more emphasis on fighting for control. And even though it's a massive man advantage and Lucky gets baited with the orb, the CTs just weren't in a position to punish the overextension. And now you had such a great jump of what could have been 6-6. Now I don't even see them getting 5.
Yeah, I mean, it is doable, but it's unlikely that they'll get a 5th. And I was kind of thinking they need 6-all on the half going into their second half if they're going to stand any chance of making this 2-0. And it is good to see the way that Paravision have been able to put behind them what happened on Train, where they just didn't pitch up at all. That hasn't lingered coming into Ancient. They're looking like a completely different team here, which is a reflection of their mental fortitude, their ability to reset between maps. And this is far more convincing.
And maybe not for Travis, though. Man, he's having a tough series, isn't he?
Yeah, he hasn't been in great form lately. He has had a bit of a resurgence in the past, week or two, and I know that doesn't mean much, but I feel like in Tier 2 Counter-Strike, things move so quickly. But yeah, he has had a tough day in the office, I'm afraid.
Lucky doesn't even spot the shelf pick. just before that smoke goes down, and the spam's getting better and better for damage. Now, Cabby's going to take this moment, because there's a lot of emphasis towards mid, to make a bit of an overplay. Now, he's going to get into A main, he's going to slightly play aggressively. The problem is the timing that Xiphon is being caught on. This is basically just a free kill for Belchenok on the walkout.
I mean, it should be. Xiphon, he knows what the way he's positioned himself. He's very ready for a fight on the swing, but he has to time the swing. He can't get walked up on because then they'll spot him first, and he does get a kill. That's probably the most he could have hoped for from that position. How has Cabby found another? He's so active. They weren't expecting him to emerge out of A main. They thought he'd play time. Oh my goodness, Belchenok, he still has to pick up the bomb here. He's looking for the bomb. He still hasn't scooped it up. There's no time. And he'll go down 7-5. Does that give you any belief here, Dweg?
No chance at all. 0%.
Okay.
It's a good positive end to the half. I'll give him that much. I mean, for Cabby to be able to make that extension, and then for even the anchor of Xiphon to get one, it's a good way to close out the half. But no, I'm certainly not convinced after that first half.
Yeah, fair enough. Going to require some sort of a masterclass here from Sashi on their T side, and we look at them historically on Ancient. Got a 50% win rate on their T side. They slightly, I say slightly favorite, 42% win rates on their CT side. So at least they've survived that first half. And I feel like when you're playing Parivision on their map, if you can just survive the first half, you're still in the contest. You can still try and find a way to scrap your way to victory.
I like
there
this
we
position.
go, Julies.
Because if Iceberg goes down, then that's 2 flashes for the exec just wasted, and Belchenok will at least get 1.
Well, he hasn't turned around yet. Oh, wait, Lucky, what is that awareness? His IGL is at the front of A main, but Lucky still cleared it out intentionally. He's gotten that kill. That's a massively impactful frag on Belchenok. There's one back for Nota, but they're going to have to retake without a kit here.
Yeah, Nota's waiting for the fight to come to him. He's hoping to draw some of these T-side players aggressively, and Lucky's already setting up the backstab. So as long as Becky stalls for time, there's going to be no chance for this kill.
Yeah, and there we go. As you say, backstab coming into full effect, or frag found regardless. Travis looking to fight his way forward. Kickett's gotten a kill in the meantime. It's actually a 2v2 turned 2v1. It's only Lucky. He wants to fight on the front foot with the Julies. He's tapping away. He's actually killed Travis while shooting at Kickett. Oh, you can't script it. And because there's no catcher, Lucky just has to play time. Just avoid Kickett at all costs like he has the plague. And Kickett will find 3 in the round, but not the round itself.
I think it's a shame from Belchenok because he's set up really nicely for that position. He knows that the first player is crossed. He's waiting for the second. He's played it very well. It's just that he's been clotheslined. I mean, especially a Julie at that range, you expect to win out a fight against a Glock, even if you are being pre-aimed. Paravision will be frustrated they couldn't win the pistol. They're a side that I wouldn't say force heavily. When I've watched a lot of their games, they try and keep it quite safe, and that's exactly what's happening, even with the economical damage of how many players were able to get dropped in that last round.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like they're going to be pulling any punches against the full eco. I mean, generally the playbook says, let's get some info before we commit so we don't push into a stack. Sashi, they're just going to go straight in here. Util raining in on B, and there's nobody home.
Easy site take. Try and get Iceberg to search once the bomb goes down. Try and upgrade that Mac 10 into a little bit more of a farm bonus.
Yeah, like you say, try and send the SMG into a bit of a hunt there, see if you can get some extra cash. Really important that Sashi don't lose any players unnecessarily here just to build up the money, because they're going to level up the scoreline, 7 apiece. They're 6 rounds away from winning this 2-0. I mean, how many of those would be gun rounds? Not many if they can win this one here. And as you can see, Xiphon smiling. Good to see the mood in the camp is high for Sashi right now. And this is where the pressure could start to come back into the conversation for Parivision. I think they would have expected to have coasted to victory against Sashi today. And when you have that expectation coming into a series, and then it's the complete opposite of that, I think that the pressure just creeps up on you at that point, because you weren't expecting to feel any.
Sashi are in a position in which, as unlikely as it seems, they can see the vision, but they need to allow themselves to demonstrate some really good defaults on this T side, some really good timings, spacing in terms of the trades. I think that's one of the downfalls that they have on a lot of their T sides that I've seen on Ancient, is they give away too many opening deaths and no one's in trading positions. No one's in a spot to make it a 4v4. Becky is just jump facing against any ramp aggression just to spot for info. They're putting emphasis towards Nota, which means he's being forced back by Util, so they're taking mid, which means because of that, James now needs to come to Red Room to siphon off that area of the map, basically.
Yeah, and this is them going through the motions in a very convincing fashion, which is exactly what you were just calling for from them. These robust, reliable defaults, not giving up any unnecessarily opening deaths. So, yeah, good work from them. Siphon's been able to get himself a bit of a foothold in Red Room as well, and it looks like they're going to try and get themselves onto the B bomb site here. Travis, oh, he wants to go searching. He's got some support as well. How far forward does he extend? We know this has become a popular option. He's got Kick It at his back and then Jame on the sides as well. Paravision have got 3 players on B and 1 leaning in that direction as well. Travis will take the initiative and he's found a frag as a result. Paravision are tripping over themselves and they will just commit to the triple swing. Okay, they eventually figure it out. Oh, run out of ammo though, and Cabby will punish Kick It, so could be a way back in the 2v2, but time needs to be bought for Siphon. He needs to be more active here. He can't rely on Cabby just getting onto the site and, oh, he's going to run straight into Nota.
Yeah, round's over, unfortunately. I think it's the right call. It's a 2v2. Cabby's expected the rotation from the A player to come out in spawn, so you want to try and send it quickly, shelf to Donut, and then what you end up finding is that the A player's gone aggro A main and basically cut off from elbow. Sashi, unfortunately, they just get caught on timing, don't they? Like, they're trying to set up Util to go in towards B, and there's just pure ramp aggression, and the trades just aren't really in their favor for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, there was kind of like a make or break moment in the round there for Paravision where they had 3 players on ramp. They kind of seemed like they were in limbo about whether they were going to fall back or commit. They just decided to go all in. And it worked out for them. Wasn't enough time for Sashi to get the round back on track. And if they lose this round here, 9-7, no money, 10-7 afterwards, that's probably an unassailable lead for Paravision. And again, they're going to keep up the pressure as they make their way down ramp aggressively. And at least Sashi can go 1 for 1.
Belchdog's a bit more aggressive in Donut than what we've seen previously with those ramp moves, just to hope to maybe catch a timing, catch one of the T-side players sleeping on a lurk. Now, rather than sitting back behind the totem, he's given himself an off angle where he can get one and then instantly strafe right.
Again, trade successful here for Sashi, which is something we've been calling for from them here on their T side. It's only Noto who's on the safe bomb site, and I don't know how he's not burning. He's managed to just nestle himself in between the smoke and that molly, and that will allow for him to find 2 frags on the players coming through from Donut. You can't even really fault Sashi there. That's just very good positioning from Nota. Good awareness from him. Could even finish off the job as well. He's going to have some support, and there we go. Nota will seal the deal, and Paravision are up to 9.
And that's easily been one of the biggest exploitations from CSGO to CS2 is the position in and around smokes and mollies. And when you get towards the higher levels of the pro scene, we see it so frequently. Players with intuition, players with sound understanding realize exactly what positions can be held and where you're going to be overlooked. And for Sashi, I mean, I came into this half not expecting much, and that's kind of what I've seen. A limited threat in mid to late rounds where they lack that quality.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's kind of where you can see the disparity between the 2 teams, right? In those sort of situations. Individual decision-making highlighted there by Nota. The firepower discrepancy as well starts to really come to fruition in those sort of situations.
And if I was going to make a criticism of Iceberg playing Cave, I could say the exact same thing for Travis. Out of all the maps in the pool, Travis plays a lot of anchor spots, and so does Belchnog. But yet on Ancient, he plays Cave. And that seems mental out of all 7 maps.
Yeah, it's just, again, like, where do you put him? Do you put him as that A anchor then? I mean, which is kind of a popular part of the map for the T side these days for those all-out A hits. Do you make him the B anchor? Maybe you can try and rely on utility a bit more, not as much on gunfights. It's like, how do you hide a player like that on Ancient? No utility here for the T side to try and aid their cause in getting onto this B bomb site and see if they can find a plant. It's just going to be the surge forward. And Travis is happy to concede the ground. Kick It does some damage. I mean, I'm not worried about the round at large here. Bomb plant would be nice for Sashi and should be able to activate the C4 here. So at least that's a little bit of extra money for them going into the next round. But that is a farming round from Travis. 4 kills with the SMG. Certainly a big boost to his finances and his kill counts as well.
And nicely done. Up to double digits of Paravision with the goal of closing this game out relatively quickly. And this is where I want to say that the scoreline has been very misleading to the competitiveness of this map. We're looking at 7 rounds for Sashi and only just double digits now for Paravision. But yet Sashi won back-to-back pistols. They won back-to-back anti-ecos. So you're already gifting yourself 4 rounds before we even talk about gun rounds.
Yeah. Here we go. This is the gun round that matters the most for Sashi. If they lose this gun round, then Ancient's as good as done. This is their last chance to really keep themselves in the contest. They've got everything they need here as well, full utility, and it looks like they want to hammer home on the speed bomb side again. There's actually nobody home right now. They're trying to rotate back in this direction, are they? Travis is here, but he's been run over. It's now on Kickit. He's done some good work from this position already, and he's got some support that's arrived just in time.
Lucky from long, needs a miracle. Flash around the corner, players are blinded, and, well, just crap. Just poor. Needs at least 1, should be getting 2. Yeah, Ancient's done. Mirage, here we come.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I thought maybe with the way we'd started with the second half that Sashi might be able to make this one interesting. And they did have their opportunity in that 7 all-round where Note is in the back of the bomb site there and he gets the multi-kill. I think that was Sashi's prime opportunity to really keep themselves in the contest. Mirage about to take center stage.
Yeah, I get the feeling, Matt, that you're very similar to Trav, where it's like, yeah, we give him a bit of leniency, like give a bit of hope, maybe some expectations. Mate, you gotta be firmer. You gotta just be call it as it is. Go into the second half, 0 chance. Even if it looks competitive, no, 0. Just no.
Double
None at
down.
all.
I mean, I do have a tendency to do that a lot more than Trav because I kind of have to balance it out a bit because he's like the nicest guy in the world. So I do try sometimes, but maybe now I've met my match where I'm the Trav of the duo. So yeah.
I mean, even for Sashi, I mean, they're going into what could be a B-pop without even any util. And my biggest criticism with this buy is why are we not getting a hero? Like, I know the money's not great, but I'm thinking 7-11 down. Even if someone's on a Galil come the next gun round, mate, get an AK armor up there. Like,
yeah, I completely
something
agree with you.
That's going to do some power, because you've not threatened any of these half-buy rounds. To me, the only thing that's coming is like the odd kill, maybe a bomb plant. Paravision, mate, they love getting Nota on a hero AK in these kind of investments.
And what are you getting outside of it? You've got 5 players with armor and upgraded pistols instead of 4 players with armor, 3 of them with pistols and 1 with an AK, and then 1 guy who just kind of has to sacrifice himself for the round. Like, that sacrifice is so worth it to just get that 1 rifle at your disposal. Instead now, they've got, upgraded pistols and Kevlar across the board, but that's not going to give them a way into the round. So I completely agree with you. Also, I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more utility in these sort of rounds. Maybe 4 go and upgraded pistol in favor of a double flash smoke. But anyway, it's flawless from Paravision. It's a semantic conversation. And it is going to be 5 map points now for the team who have picked the map.
And fair play to Kickit for being able to call a game where you can have long and extended streaks. I mean, we've had 5 in a row in the first half from them. We've had 5 in a row in the second half from them. They've shown that they can put their foot down and give very few rounds to the opposition. Very few moments in which it sort of changes the tact of the game, resets the economy, back and forth nature. I mean, to even go into round 20 with this many AKs is just a dream.
Yeah, you're right. It's a sign of a team that are stable, that are consistent, able to build up these streaks on both halves. Belchenark already on the opposite side of the smoke. Look at the moves being made here from Paravision. I don't think we saw this at all throughout the entirety of the first half from Sashi, not once. Playing on the front foot on the defensive half, smothering your opponents, fighting them at those choke points. And now it's a 3v2 here.
Yeah, resetting in the mid-round is the right idea here for Sashi, where you can just keep contacting. You don't really want to be using any util because you want the element of surprise in the man disadvantage. And this allows you to clear out the majority of B. Now, what should happen here is plant open for CT. Take Lucky to exploit this space. I mean, they've planted open for ramp, but you need to cut the rotate. You need to make sure that James falls.
Well, James is going to struggle to have impact now, and he's actually just thrown some utility from Red Room to make sure that Sashi knows someone's going to try and retake from there, and then, well, it looks like he was going to try and reposition it. Is he just calling it a day now? It looks like James has said, yeah, I'm going to have a very late impact in the retake, if any impact at all, and it's heavily predicated off of Kickit finding success on ramp. That now can motivate James to feel this one out again. There's a smoke, there's a couple kits, there's a missed shot from James. They now know where Iceberg is, and it's a very good reface from James, recognizing that Iceberg's attention's probably been shifted to Kickit. He'll get the kill, Paravision get the round, and as a result, they've won the map.
Very good performance coming out of Paravision. I think what we've seen from both teams is really good dominating performances on their map pick, especially in the gun rounds, just giving very low likelihoods of a good showing. And underwhelming for the series that we've had sort of these blowout scorelines, the lack of competitiveness. It does intrigue me for the last map decider because you go into what is a weaker map for both of these teams now rather than a strength. But so far, so good for Paravision to at least bounce back from map 1.
Yeah, absolutely. A very good showing that they were able to put that behind them and not let it kind of linger into that second map and maybe drop their heads a little bit. They've just immediately put that behind them, focused up, and got the job done. As for Sashi, they might be a little bit annoyed with the way that that map had slipped away. Like, they just didn't show us anything in the second half outside of the pistol and the conversion. None of the gun rounds particularly close either. So Paravision, they're now the ones with the momentum behind them, and Sashi have to show us that they're capable of resetting after a map loss.
And it might seem obvious to say this was Sashi's best chance in the series, considering that they're one map up, but you have to just look at it and say, anytime you allow a favorite back into a game, whether that be a slow start going into even a competitive map, you just lose the edge. And I know that Mirage is definitely a weak map for both squads. They don't win it massively. It's definitely not one of their best in the pool. I look at Paravision and say, you've kind of woken up the beast. They were just napping out there on map 1, and now they've come into map 2. They've showed us some of the performances that we've seen in CCT, that we've seen in ECL, that we've seen in these tournaments in which we've featured those deep tournament runs getting into grand finals.
And that's what validates your points about saying how Sashi getting the stun in 2 would have been their best opportunity, because now the beast has been awoken and Paravision are very much alive and well. Mirage will be soon as well, the third and final map of the quarterfinal, the first quarterfinal of the day, providing some entertainment for us all here to kick things off. Like I said, one more map remaining. Who gets through to the semis? We'll find out after a short break.